Mic checks echo, I'm the sound of the brawl. Canvas creaks, flesh slaps, bodies rise and fall. Steel cage dreams, no escape. All pain, blood stains mixed with the sweat and the chain. Adrenaline surging my veins, spit fire. Crowd chants feeding my soul's desire. Turnbuckles tremble when my wrath collides. Glory's the belt and I'm taking the pride. Boom. The squared circle where legends collide. Boom. No mercy, just a wild ride. Boom. Lights flash, fist clash, can't resist. Boom. The squared circle digest. Pyros ignite, shadows dance in the glow. Ringside roar, it's a gladiator show. Chokeholds tighter than the grip of the night. Climbing the ropes to new championship heights. The mental battlefield, no room for doubt. Every move calculated, every scream a shout. The bell tolls louder than a sinner's regret. This is the place where the bold never forget. Boom. The squared circle where legends collide. Boom. No mercy, just a wild ride. Boom. Lights flash, fist clash, can't resist. Boom. The squared circle digest. Boom. The squared circle where legends collide. Boom. No mercy, just a wild ride. Lights flash, fist clash, can't resist. Boom. The squared circle digest. Circle Digest!
It is the Squared Circle Digest. I am Sean Stanley. That is the great Frankie Fresco. Frankie, how we doing tonight, sir?
I'm good, man. How you been?
I have been well, actually. It's been a fun little week here this week for myself. I'm sure you've been a little bit busy, as you normally are.
Yeah, man. It's going. Last week I went to the doctor. Remember I told you guys that I had been dealing with a little bit of a head situation because of the bad concussion I suffered a couple months ago. I actually have my appointment with my doctor with a neurologist on not this Saturday, but next Saturday, to finally see what's going on with my head, man. Like it's
I can
sometimes
tell
it's,
you what's going on, but you don't want to hear me.
maybe I mean it's a little bit rough, man. I think look, right now I'm looking at myself and I feel like I have a reflection of myself because I feel like I'm the guy. Like we're literally look exactly the same. You know, we have no hair. The only difference is I have glasses. You don't.
I can mess you up and throw on some glasses next time.
Please
Maybe I'll
don't.
shave. I'll go clean shave. We'll just be looking at each other.
I would. That would
I
be
won't.
interesting. That would be an interesting way of seeing you, Sean. I don't think I've ever seen you clean shaved, man.
No, I don't do that often, man. Not often.
Maybe maybe the viewing
My wife does
public
not
wants
like
to
it.
see it.
So, yeah.
Oh damn!
I look too baby face, real baby face. So.
You got to look like a heel. That's why I get it.
Yeah, I gotta look like I'm something, you know. I look something. I gotta have the looks, you know. Again, nothing else going for me. Gotta have the looks. Hey, so we got a great week of wrestling. Steven Gonzalez already in. What's up, my man? I miss you guys too down there in the mountains. Me Papa is in. I know if I'm with Frankie, not Spencer, so it's me Papa, not do Papa. So there, and then we got HD Black. Boost your stream. PeakPay.com.
New viewer. That's a new viewer.
Let's go. New viewer. Welcome, my friend.
Those are always fun.
Yeah, man. Yeah, definitely. All right, so let's dive into it. Try not to keep everybody here too long on this Wednesday. Clash in Italy. If you want to hear our thoughts on that, you can check out Two Raw for SmackDown. We did a post show with them. We'll go in a little bit with our Raw recap that we're going to do here. Talk a little bit about some of the things that led into certain things. But if you want to hear that over again, you can check that out there. Frankie, your WWE Raw after Clash in the Castle.
Well, can I talk about Clash in the Castle? I wasn't even there at the post.
Oh my God, that's right. You didn't. I'm sorry. Yes, Frankie, why didn't you tell me that? I forgot. because you were supposed to be on and then you weren't able to make it, and
Yeah.
I just that's right, that's right, that's right. I apologize. Frankie Fresco was not on, so here we go. Clash in Italy. Your thoughts, Frankie? I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry, dude.
It was I the one that suffered a concussion? I don't
I
remember.
absolutely think I was. I think I was.
Nah, just playing, just playing. It's all good, man. Hey, man, it wasn't bad. I was disappointed that the two main people who defended their belts, I thought their fights were lackluster. I thought the Cody fight was the worst one of the night, and then I think the one the one that I rated after that one as the second lowest was the Roman Reigns and Jacob Fatu match. I
It's
thought
very
that
safe.
match
It was very safe.
that match was very very lackluster.
I think Jacob was hurt
I
or
agree.
something. I think there was more to it, and that's why, like, I wish when I was talking about it in the pre-show was like, look, if he's hurt, then I'd rather you just pivot and give us something more than just. I mean, there were some spots there where you could be like, oh, it's tribal, but it's just like, man, that didn't live up to what I thought it.
Well,
Could have.
they were going really slow,
Bobby
man.
Heenan was hurt.
That's why I felt like he was hurt because they were going really slow. Like it was a very slow paced match. Um, it's kind of concerning when I believe Becky Lynch and Sol Ruka was probably the best between that one and the Rhea and Jay Cargo match were the best matches on the card. That was a little bit shell shocker. And then you had Brock and Obafemi, which was it was too quick. It was fun. I enjoyed it. You thought it was basura,
Yeah, I
but
thought it went too long with what they did. It just and then it re-emphasized on Monday when they did what they did. It's like, dude, we're really over trying to what is it when you want to be like yours is needs to be bigger and you gotta boom, this is mine now. That's what they did with Oba.
I mean,
It's just they
I mean,
overcompensated. There it
they,
is, overcompensate.
they set it they set it up for eventually for these two to meet up again.
Oh no, of course, but they could have done that if he would have came. And this, Frank, real quick, I don't know if you heard what I said, but you could have done the four F5s,
Hmm.
have Oba kind of staggering around, because again, Brock jumped him before the bell, right as the bell rung, he jumped him, so that's fine. Oba could have caught him, put him up for the power bomb right there, done the spot where Brock gets off, and then F5 him again and pin him. Done. You don't need to have Oba fight back to get put back down by three more F5. Like, I just felt for what they were trying to get across by getting Brock the win, you get Brock the win by this time. I didn't underestimate you like I did at WrestleMania, and I got the jump on you. You didn't get the jump on me. It's 1-1, or however you want to do it, 1-1. And now you go to the third. I just felt like you had Oba fight back like a normal baby would to just put him down again. That felt like a match, and I just feel like they didn't need to have that for that to be 1-1.
So you didn't think he needed to F5 him outside in the outside table and the announcer table?
I didn't think you needed the 7. I mean, again, it goes back to this. If it takes Brock Lesnar 7 F5s to beat him,
Hmm.
who on the roster can beat him?
Whoever does 7 times their finishing move.
I mean, Cody's going to have to hit 300 crossroads on Oba to put him down.
I mean, you're right. It did seem over the top when it came to the amount of F5s he had
I
to
mean, I know
do.
they're trying to protect Oba. I get that part of it, but it's like
I think, but
make
check
it
this.
make sense a little bit better.
I think the problem with it as well is I don't know if Brock Lesnar knows how to do anything else outside of an F5 right now because you could have done just that, done two F5s, right? And he kicks out, and then you know, body slams him, takes him outside, hits him against the pole, maybe grabs him, do little small things that you could technically do, but it just doesn't seem like Brock doesn't do that anymore. It just seems like all he does is F5s and calls it a night.
He didn't even do the belly to back suplexes. He didn't. They were chanting Suplex City. He did none.
He did none. So I don't know how. I don't know if he's, if he just can't do it anymore, or if he doesn't want to hurt himself, or if he just doesn't care. So it did seem like very excessive. And now that you put it into that perspective, I didn't get a chance to look at the post show. So, yeah, it's difficult to now see whoever challenges Obafemi, they could beat him. I mean, I know that he had the what was it, a fatal four way, I think, on
Yeah,
or
which
on
again,
Monday night, but
like, and real quick, let's just jump into the fatal four way real quick because since we're on this thing, you had a chance to where look, Oba could have taken himself out of that match, and you moved somebody on else in the tournament because it's a four way. Oba doesn't have to take the loss; he just can't get pinned. And it felt like they wanted to overcompensate. Oba's still the man, and now they sent him out there, and he just again, Carmelo Hayes, Penta, Solo. I get that, but then you had him pin Solo, who at the end of Clash in Italy is doing a stare down with Roman, and Roman says they're next.
I
They're
think
next. We're not fit, and then he just goes out and he beats Tala and Solo. And it's like, okay.
I think the reason why they are keeping Obafemi in that tournament for King of the Ring is because eventually you're gonna get Brock Lesnar interfere and cost him the King of the Ring. I don't know if it's gonna be in the
But here's the
semifinal
thing.
or it's gonna be
I
in the
don't think
final,
you
but that's
need
what's
that
gonna happen.
anymore. I don't think
You're right. I don't think they need it. They really don't because if you look at what Brock was saying at the end when he won, he was like, "Yeah, now we're 1-1," right? He was saying that. So you could have just fed it afterwards and just say, "Hey, look, this and that." But I think that's the route that they're going,
yeah,
and
yeah.
and unfortunately, like, they're in such a big hole with Obafemi. It's scary because like you said, they made him so big, they made him like so unstoppable, and by just it's hard. Anybody who else, like you said, who else is gonna beat this guy? Like the only time I could honestly feel like Obafemi might lose a match is at the Royal Rumble because you could a whole bunch of people could gang up on him and throw him
Gang up
over.
on
But that's it. In a look in a fatal four, they had him win again.
he had a
So
chance. Not only win, but I mean he dominated four guys because Tala outside the ring got the boot on him, but then once he revived, I mean, he took out Tala, then one slap to Carmelo, which echoed beautifully, by the way. That was a great slap. And then he goes in and he takes out Penta with the spine buster and then hits Solo with the power bomb and wins.
yeah,
So
and shout out to Oscar and obviously Steven and Bobby who are on the chat board. But Oscar, you said those F5s are intense to do. I don't think a suplex is any worse on the body. I agree, but the guy ain't doing it. So I don't know if it's
to be
just that
honest,
he.
F5 is probably easier to take than a belly to back because a belly to back, you're getting thrown back. And if you land too high on your shoulders and your neck, the F5, you're just landing flat. The F5 is probably easier to take. I mean, it looks a lot worse,
But
but
which isn't it
probably a lot
easier?
easier.
Isn't the suplex easier on Brock than doing an F5?
In a way, it depends though, because when you're doing the belly to back, if they don't land right, their back or ass could come down right on your forehead, depending on
Oh,
how.
no, that's a good
And
point.
usually, the guys in WWE are good enough to where they're going to launch themselves. It just depends on if you get how many you get to and how many the guy can take. I mean, I guess at some point, and maybe that's the worry is if you hit two back to back, can Oba get up for a third straight? Because that is rougher on the person taking
Yeah.
the bump.
Well,
And
remember, wasn't that how E got hurt too? I think E took a
well, he
suplex.
got the belly to belly
Yeah,
to belly toss
and he
overhead.
threw him over and it landed on his neck, right?
Yeah,
On his
yeah.
head. So,
Whereas the belly to back, you're kind of getting tossed backwards and you're landing. The problem is if you over rotate, your feet could go over your head, like that. Or if you don't rotate enough, you land on the person that's giving the.
but again, he could have done body slams. He could have climbed on top of the turnbuckle and done the leg
I
drop.
mean, he
Like
did
those
the
are
Kimura. He could
minimal
have sat
stuff.
in the Kimura, let go, hooked it in again.
Yeah.
He could have done other things. I just think it was just to do what they did on Sunday and then to come back to see what they did on Monday. It's like, what are we
They're,
doing?
they're very clueless. They're struggling. And funny enough, because you are the one who always says WWE knows how to book and make their big wrestlers very productive. And it seems like maybe they finally met their match because they're having a hard time with Obafemi. It just seems clumsy here and there, and like you said, if it did feel like hey they needed him, they wanted him to win on Monday. That way it didn't look so bad that he lost over the weekend. And that's the bad part about the whole situation. And again, you don't have to build him like that. You really don't. But I think they've dug themselves so deep that they're in a sticky situation with him. So we'll see what
It'll be
happens.
interesting to see where it goes because I saw an article today, and I don't know if you saw the same one because I know we look at a lot of the same stuff. But it looks like the next two opponents, and it didn't say order or anything like that, but the next two big opponents for Roman Reigns is going to be Seth Rollins and Oba Finn.
I mean,
It's like, I mean,
who else can you put over after Brock?
but
That's the
when you
scary
look
part.
at it, it almost feels like because if you look at the setup for King of the Ring,
Yeah.
Seth is on this side, Oba's on this side. It's almost like they're going to have them go and then have Brock cost uh,
Oba.
Oba in Saudi or Riyadh, sorry.
Yeah, and
And then
then
that way you got Brock over there doing something, you've got Oba over there doing something when you don't really need it. Like I just
100%.
like it's just like I looked at this King of the Ring and I was like, oh, are they going to set up for Braun versus Seth? But now I think it's going to be Oba versus Seth with Brock interfering. I don't think
Yeah.
Braun's going to get there. I think Braun's going to get taken out the way I thought Oba should get taken out. I think Seth's probably going to play a part in that or
Well,
something.
well, well people
Where,
are people are forecasting that Seth is supposed to win King of the
yeah,
Ring. That's what they're
no,
saying.
no, that's what I saw that too, and that's what I'm saying. I think they're going to try to get to Seth versus Oba so that it looks like it's going to be Oba against Roman, and then Brock takes it away. So then Seth will be there at the same time because I think that SummerSlam they get the shot, which SummerSlam is the Minnesota event where Brock would retire, right?
Yeah. Yeah. SummerSlam is in Minnesota. Oscar says, I know they're making Oba indestructible, but I feel like the same thing happened with Brock early in his career, and eventually they found a Roman to neutralize him. Do you feel that could be the situation with Oba as well?
I just don't see who's the Roman.
Roman!
But I mean, but Roman at this point
Yes.
being the stoppage to Oba now.
Yes.
I don't know. I don't feel like that because I felt like Brock was the aging guy as Roman was the younger guy. And now it's Oba the younger guy. He's gonna get neutralized by the older guy. It's gotta be somebody underneath. The only guy I can honestly think of that would be something if they end up doing it and there's still a lot of work to be done. Mason Rook.
Mm.
That's the only guy, right? But again, I think they're going to do a lot of stuff to his body and get him on a thing to where he's going to change a lot. So I
Yeah.
don't think that's going to be in the cards because I think they're going to try to probably do something like they did with Gunther with him.
I mean, the only guy I could think eventually can get there, which in the future we're bound to see them go at it one after the other, and eventually headline a WrestleMania. In my opinion, is none other than Trick Williams, but he's on the SmackDown roster, so that would be because they ran it at NXT, and that went really well on the NXT side over there. So we'll
But
see what
again,
happens.
they didn't make Oba wasn't this guy on
No,
NXT.
he wasn't, man. He
That's what I'm
wasn't.
saying. It's like now you've made this guy to where, like, again, I'm not saying that but like, who beats him? Who beats what? Roman's gonna have to spear him 4 times at least, and Superman punch another 4. I know he does that almost every match, anyways, but that's gonna have to be the mathematical equation to take down Oba Finn.
Well, no doubt the NASCAR expert in the chat says, is it really that difficult to let Oba run through people almost all the time? And he also says that doesn't sound like a problem. It sounds like a star.
I mean, it
Here's
is, but the problem is it's a star that, again, this is what happened. Remember back to WCW days, right? They got in this position with Goldberg where he's 178-0, and then he had to start taking on Hogan, Nash, Hall, Sting, and you're like, oh, you can't keep running roughshod through all these guys. These are our stars. It's fine when you're getting them Carmelo and Dragunov and Gargano and the Viking Raiders or whatever you're doing with
Zammy.
those guys. That's fine. The problem is once you start getting to I'll even throw LA Knight into this. Like you can't sacrifice your LA Knights, your Jey Usos. Those guys are the launching pads for your next heel or face, depending on what realm the other guys are in to
I
launch those
wouldn't.
guys up. You can't have everybody job to this guy. back in the day, they used Andre the Giant, and this is where the problem gets to now, to where Oba doesn't need to be there every week.
No, they don't. But they
But they book him there.
but here's the
He
problem.
doesn't need to be there every
But
week.
but here's the problem. Cha-ching, baby, that TKO money. They
Oh no,
need
I know. I mean, I'm not saying, but again, if you could book it to where, like to me, with that match that he had 7 F5s. He got Kimura. His arm was bent back. All this stuff. Why is he booked the next night to come out and look like nothing?
because of TKO, man.
And that
TKO
again,
wants
that's
sold out
where
shows. They could raise the prices. They're gonna always say, I get to see Obafemi. So let's say they come once they come back to the States and you come here, let's say they come to Miami and you don't have no Oba, we're gonna be like, damn, we didn't see an Oba. Damn, that sucks. Like WWE is letting us down. But if you know an Oba is coming all the time, that's good. But again, I don't know if they're treating it different because I agree with you. They should treat it like Roman as an attraction, right? Roman is not there every single time. And when you hear Roman's gonna be in the building, everybody wants to be there.
it
So it's
means something.
it means something. They should do the same with Obafemi. I don't know why they're going this route. Maybe because they feel that his star power is only beginning, so they want to showcase him as much as possible. But again, it could. I feel like in a way it's kind of gonna backfire them because, like you said, they're building him up. Look, you just finished saying the next two guys that are technically gonna be his opponents, maybe the next one after Brock Lesnar, is probably Roman because if you give him Seth Rollins, maybe Seth could go on. Go and hang with him as well, but those are the next two guys. So literally, you just gave him Brock, and that's it. And then once he becomes champion, who's gonna beat him? That's the other thing. Who is gonna beat him? Because now you're looking at like you made him unstoppable to try to make it all the way to win the title, and now once he wins the title, who the hell's gonna beat this guy? Like it's just crazy. Look, he just demolished these guys on Monday. So
And
it,
one of
it
them is your Intercontinental Champion, by the way, too.
yes. When I saw that I thought it was gonna be like a match versus a match, and then I saw they made
Yeah.
it a 4-way, and
When
I
you
was like,
sent me the thing that showed, I was like, because we were debating it on the post game, because the one I saw had it broken into matches. I'm like, Oba versus Penta.
yeah.
I'm like, look, I would love to see that match, but not booked by WWE because I know what's going to happen. But then I was like, why are they putting Penta in that position? What did he do wrong?
No,
Then
and
I
I
saw
don't.
it was 4-way, and then I'm like, okay, now this is a way to keep Oba from advancing somehow. And instead, they gave him Monstar treatment, and
And not only that, if we would have seen Oba versus Penta, that's a pay-per-view match. That's something you don't show on a Monday night. That's just me though. I feel like those two can hang in a pay-per-view or a premium live event. So it's
in
like,
the WWE world, in AEW world, yes. In WWE world, they're gonna make Oba be that much bigger than Penta. Like it's
all right, well now we talked about Oba. Now let's talk about the other guy because somebody in the chat board also said it. It's about Roman and Jacob. How Jacob had to acknowledge Roman on Monday night. Sir, did you like this? Do you like Jacob being part of the bloodline?
I like it if they use him to be the solo role, or I want to see more of it before I say anything, to see how they use him. I don't like what they did afterwards with the whole Jay Uso thing and the whole thing where Cody and Roman run into each other after the Clash in Italy that's been put out there, and then Roman tells Jay, "Oh, there's one belt you haven't had, so now what is Jay going to go after?" Like he's like, "Oh, now you got to win the King of the Ring," and I feel like because I think Jay's in the bout that would verse Seth next, so even if Jay wins, I think Seth beats him, and then that will ignite the whole bloodline Seth probably. I'm guessing
Mm-hmm.
the way it's kind of playing out here. But no, I don't have a issue with it right now.
Mm-hmm.
I like the fact that he said I'm doing this because I'm showing my kids that I'm a man, even though I took a loss. I can, like they put some like truth behind it at least a little bit, not just and you could tell Jacob had tears in his eyes, man. Like it was emotional for him, and he showed it again. That's the thing with this thing. It kind of does hit I think a nerve with a lot of these guys that it's yes, it's wrestling, but it's still family in a way that they're able to, come across for each other. But I think they need to use him as um, an assassin, I guess, in a way,
Okay,
more,
so
more
for
than just being a part of the bloodline. They need him to be the attack dog, to me, to make it work.
for me, I think this was the wrong call. I thought he was just gonna acknowledge him and then go about his own business and be like, okay, I'm not gonna challenge you anymore because you
No,
beat
because he
me.
told
And
him you have to acknowledge me and then get in line, which means he's got to
that's
be.
fine. You could get in line, but that doesn't necessarily. That means that he ain't gonna have a shot in going and becoming the champion until Roman loses the belt to somebody else. But that doesn't necessarily mean that he has to be part of the group. Like I feel they're doing the same thing that they did with Solo. But the problem here is that when Solo came to the bloodline, he wasn't as popular. Like Jacob has already built a really good fan base. People like him. Obviously the match wasn't the great, but again, I think it was because he was a little bit hurt. But now you got him in that group. Like I think he's taking a step back. Like, dude,
It
like
might be,
you
but it might be the step back to make a step forward if Roman treats him like crap. Because remember, he said to Jay also, "You're the only one that understands the tough love. You understand why I have to do the tough love, like what he did with Jacob." So I feel like there's going to be something there ultimately to where maybe he pushes back a little bit too. So again, I'll reserve. I agree with if it's just going to be him falling in line and just being a member and that. Yeah, I would have an issue with that part of it.
but and then the other thing is that we're recycling back to the bloodline. I thought we were done with the bloodline.
That was always going to be the play.
I thought we were done with this though, man. Like that goes to show you how right now WWE is, I'm sorry, man, and you guys might call me a hater, but clueless with their storylines. They're desperate and they feel like, hey, the bloodline worked for so many years. Let's bring it back because they don't know what else they could come up with. And they're dropping the ball with Obafemi. They had to bring back Brock Lesnar because they didn't know what they needed somebody for Obafemi. And now they're bringing the bloodline. Like, what are we gonna get? Zammy coming back to the bloodline too, or they incorporate somebody random similar
Maybe
like
I'm
this?
going solo this time
Like, dude, it's just I don't get it. I feel like it's
because they
lackluster,
dug
man.
themselves in the holes, man. They're trying so hard to again, TKO I think is all about the dollar signs. And the problem now with creative is okay, what's going to get us dollar signs? And that unfortunately is what they're writing for now. It goes back to what Vince McMahon always said about um the whole
Yeah, but Sean, they're like this then
guys
because where's CM Punk?
cuz he took time off.
No, no, he didn't. He took some time off. How long has he been gone, bro? Like they're saying
Right,
they
no, I'm
were
saying
even doubting. They're even
that's
doubting
what I
that he
said.
might. They're even doubting that he might show up to. I think what the next Chicago show.
It's like SummerSlam, I think. He'll show up to Chicago to start doing the ride to SummerSlam. But that show
Why?
isn't until like July something. I think July 2nd or something.
Why do you? Why did you take him so long out of TV? Like that makes no sense.
Because he was getting what all of them get. That's a problem. Because again, he was the money maker for a little while. So what was the thing? All CM Punk all the time on Raw because there was no Roman and there was no Seth at the time. So there really was, and Braun was hurt at that one point. Everybody was hurt on Raw except for CM Punk almost.
It's just and let's not talk about injuries, bro. They're dropping like flies over there in WWE, man. You saw Braun Breaker got hurt, Zammy got
He
hurt
did a
in the
street
house
fight.
show.
He did another street fight the next day. So I don't know. I don't know. We'll see.
I guess. I mean, I guess we'll see what happens. But I'm not too fond of it. Well, I'll give it. Maybe until the next pay per view to see where they go with this Jacob stuff. But I thought the best thing they could have just done is him acknowledge him and then just be like, yeah, if you ever need me, I'll be there for you guys, and then just walk out and still do him. Jacob has built a good fan base, man. He's good on his own. He doesn't need to be in the bloodline. I could understand why Jimmy and Jay are always in the bloodline because they find individually they don't. It sucks, but individually they can't hang. They're good either tag teams or they're good with Roman. That's it. My whole thing is I hope it doesn't happen to the point where now Jacob is irrelevant or can't hang because he's always under the shadows of Roman. And that's what because look, I love Solo. I think Solo has done a great job.
Calm down, Jacob.
What happened?
That's what Jacob always says. I love you, Solo.
But that's a good point. But at the end of the day, like I don't know, like there was one point in time with like Solo was doing really good, and I like when he brought they had the his bloodline, but it seems like they've kind of dropped him down a little bit. Like he's taking a hit as well now. It's like, dude, they're all over the place. It's just
I pinned Carmelo Hayes last night. Instead, you pinned him. Night after he eye to eye with Roman. Like, what are we doing here? Like, I don't understand that whole thing. But then, here's the one thing too: if they treat Jacob like the stepchild, then Jacob becomes the baby face on it to go back after Roman as a heel.
But how are you gonna go after him if you already lost him and had to acknowledge him? Like you've already lost our respect for you.
Yeah, but I mean, you could still you can't do a tribal warfare match or anything like that. But you can still.
I mean, you can run it back eventually.
I mean, again,
a while later.
You saw it last night. I was like, I mean, like when he said, "I may have lost to Roman, but I didn't lose to your dumbass Jey Uso."
That was the other thing. Like, dude, you're bringing him into the bloodline, and then he's already starting beef with Jay. So what are you gonna do? Jay versus Jacob, and they're in the same bloodline?
Cinderella type thing where they're making Jacob do all the dirty stuff so they keep their hands clean. And Jay goes and be like, Roman wants you to do this, and Jimmy will say Roman wants you to do this, and then maybe Roman doesn't want him to do it, and then Roman's like, "What are you doing, Jacob?" And then there starts becoming a thing within that because again, I don't know why you had Solo, Tala, and Tama Tonga. They are nothing. Like that group could not stand next to Roman, Jay, and Jimmy. Like as a group now, with the way one went and the way the other went, that whole thing to me was like, what are we doing?
And here's the thing. Roman, who they have no clue who to put up against Roman. That's why they did that. That's why they did the whole Solo thing. But then like you said, he gets pinned on Monday night. So you're like, what was the whole point of all this? Like, what was the point of the stare down? Like, it just makes no logical sense. Like, come up with a good opponent for them. It feels like, look, one thing that we criticize sometimes, or at least I criticize of Tony Khan is that when Tony Khan does the AEW stories, right? He does it so long that he kind of hurts himself because then people get bored off of it. I think the problem with WWE now is that they're not doing like what you used to say. Hey, they're building it up that way they can set up for like shows later down the road. I don't think they're doing that. I think they're just doing it, playing it by ear. Like, hey, a week before,
3 weeks pay-per-view. 3 weeks pay-per-view.
They're just winging stories.
I just thought of the only reason they did that is because how do you get Roman on the next pay-per-view? And he doesn't have to defend his title. You make it a 6-man match. It'll be Solo, Tala, and Tama versus Roman, Jay, and Jimmy.
Okay, but you do the 6-man, right? Who the hell does Roman fight after that? Who's his opponent?
Seth or whoever wins the.
Oh, it will be the one who wins the King of the Ring. Yeah, yeah.
You know? So I mean, this is like they're trying to get something for a reason for Roman to go to Riyadh for Night of the Champions. I feel like now thinking about it, as we've just been talking this out, it feels like it's like, well, we could just throw this one more time, and then Roman's there. He'd take on these guys. And Jacob is with them now, and then maybe they make it even a match, a battle for Jacob or something. I don't know. Winner gets Jacob Fatu. I don't know why it's gotten that far, but apparently that's what we're doing.
That's crazy.
Fatu on a pole, and he's just up there, and the first one to grab him gets to use him.
You mean like Dom when they hung up Dom up there? Let's talk about another situation that happened. And again, you mentioned that he was fighting, but Braun Breaker, the whole Vision situation, we got Logan Paul who got hurt. So now he became tag team champions with Austin Theory.
Yeah, they instituted the Freebird rule. Anybody in the Vision can defend the title.
Yeah, and then I mean, kudos to Paul Heyman. He took that spear like a champion. So I'm happy for that. Was impressive. I'm like, Paul Heyman, bro, impressive by him taking that spear.
Side, but it's all right. You got a little cushion. You got to land.
Hey man, he still took it. He still took it. And if you're taking a spear from Braun Breaker, you're gonna feel it because Braun Breaker is the type of guy who doesn't hold back. Like I've noticed that.
Unless he comes from 500 feet away, then he jumps too early and he misses you.
But he still clocks you. Like wasn't that when he clocked him in the head with Seth Rollins, with his foot? But here's the thing. Where are they going with this? Because obviously, I don't know. I still haven't. I saw a video. I don't know how far back, but Braun Breaker was limping really bad. Like he was going up the stairs.
It was that day, the next day, yeah, that night. But he did do the match the next day. Not saying that he's fine, because again, like I said with the Jacob Fatu situation, a street fight you don't have to do much. You just run around. You don't have to take that many bumps if you can't do it. So I'm not saying that there's nothing wrong with him, because he might get back to the States. They do whatever, but they're trying to get him through the tour, and so it can't be too terrible. But again, I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things. I liked what they did with the match and stuff, but I don't understand why they put that match. They put themselves into a corner to where it's like, okay, how do we do this? And then now you're out of it, but now he might be injured. So now what? Now what? Like, again, it's like, okay, we put ourselves into this corner. Now what do we do?
There are some people saying a couple of things on the chat board. First, Steven Gonzalez said, "We need F and Dean Ambrose back, baby." I don't think I ever will see Dean Ambrose back.
Dean Ambrose will never go back to WWE unless it's like to put it into NFL terms so everybody can understand it, or even NBA terms. He's going to sign that one-day $1 deal so that he could go into the WWE Hall of Fame. Maybe that's it.
We have a topic of somebody who is in the Hall of Fame and left the WWE for specific reasons, and we'll get into that as well. And
I got a correction to something I said, but go ahead.
Okay. Steven says, why doesn't WWE try to get this Zilla Fatu kid and he can change the game? For me, Sean, I'm tired. Stop bringing all these guys from the family, because look, they just let 2 of them go. So like, I mean, this guy wasn't.
One part. Well, one was, but
one was. The other one wasn't.
Yeah.
But again, like you don't.
The problem is you paint yourself into another corner, which is where, I mean, you bring Zilla in for this, then what? Like the problem now is they're bringing a lot of these guys in for 3 weeks and giving them 2-year deals, and then after 3 weeks they're hanging on for a year, and then they cut them because there's nothing for them. And that's where they're going to run into the problem. Is they should have brought Zilla in when they brought Jacob in, because you could have hid Zilla and let him learn. Zilla's got in-ring stuff. He can go. But you have to learn that WWE way. If you would have brought him in like when you brought in Jacob and Tama and Tala and all those guys, he could have just sat in the background, attacked people, did some cool shit, and learned. You can't just bring him in now and throw him into the fray because he's going to look way off.
You could have easily
WWE way goes.
You could have brought him in, and eventually they couldn't even made a tag team between Jacob and Zilla, especially since the tag team division over there in WWE sucks right now. Oscar says, Do we think that creative is trying to find an exit strategy for Roman?
Yes.
Okay, explain.
Well, not that they're trying to find an exit strategy for Roman, but again, remember, Roman said, "I'm here through the summer." And then he's probably going to be out for a little while. So I got to believe he loses the title at some point. Unless you let him leave with the title and have no champion again.
I think that.
And then
might go that route.
In Survivor Series, and then he'll probably come back around Royal Rumble area, and then leave again until WrestleMania time. So not that they're trying to find an exit strategy for him, but they're trying to find a way to where maybe the eye of everything isn't on Roman like it is right now.
But he's always won the eye on himself. Remember, he's gone on paper saying that he's the best one.
Like SummerSlam, I believe, right now. Unless that changes. And again, I don't know what his contract situation is. I don't know what the TKO deal. I don't know what all that stuff is. But if you look at just now with the dates, I mean, he's been around more so far this year than he did all of last year.
I mean, the only way I could see this, like, kind of giving him an exit is you bring in Jacob, not Jacob. You bring in Obafemi to take over. What I would do WWE, because obviously you're gonna run Brock versus Obafemi, is you got to do the heel turn again when it comes to Paul Heyman. He betrays Brock Lesnar one more time, and then he joins forces with Obafemi. Once he joins forces with Obafemi, Paul Heyman can run with Obafemi for as long as they want, and WWE can stay away from having to bring Roman on because you are going to always have Obafemi. He's not doing any movies. He's not doing anything as much. I mean, maybe he will be in the future, but he's not doing that right now, like Roman does. So, and he doesn't like he's young. He wants to wrestle. He wants to be probably the next guy. You know when these young guys want to become like the next biggest thing. Look at Wembayama in basketball. He wants to be the star of NBA. Pretty sure that's what Trick wants to be. I'm pretty sure that's what Oba wants to be, and they all want to get paid, right? So that's what happens. So if WWE does this, takes a turn, brings in Brock versus Oba, Paul Heyman turns on Brock, good way. Brock Lesnar can retire, and he could and they could spin it because Brock can like Paul Heyman was like, I got all emotional for him the first time, thinking he was gonna retire, and he really didn't. So I felt betrayed and stuff like that. You could spin some shit like that, and then eventually go with Obafemi. Obafemi beats Roman. Then you have the Obafemi run until I don't know, somebody finds out how to beat him, but and then you don't have to rely on Roman.
Danhausen puts that experiment together.
Yeah, I mean, again, I mean that is a
I don't know if, and by the exit, I don't mean that Roman's like leaving forever. I just think they're trying to figure out a way to where, okay, at what point, if he does leave, does he drop the belt? And how does he drop the belt? Because, and who does he drop the belt to? Because somebody's got to keep it until.
But that's why I think the right person would be Obafemi, and then you have new opponents that you could put against Obafemi. You could put a CM Punk versus Oba.
Good, but I mean, is CM Punk beating Oba though?
I don't know. That's a good question.
I mean, I just saw this guy. I mean,
That's a good point. I mean, you could bring Seth and put Seth versus Oba.
I think you put Seth as the one at SummerSlam. Have him, again, you could throw Jacob in this thing too and cost Roman.
You
or
bring
whatever.
back Drew McIntyre and bring him into Raw.
He hasn't come back yet either. So I mean, there's options. I don't know if Oba's the way to go right at SummerSlam. Like
You bring Kevin Owens. Isn't he supposed to be almost ready back from his injury?
he's coming back, but I don't know. They're kind of trying to kayfabe this one, see what happens. But we'll see. Maybe that's why CM Punk is getting jacked. Maybe that's why he got on Oba. He's like, Jesus, I gotta get better.
All right. Another thing that happened on Monday night, and then we'll move on to the next topic is Sol Ruka. She came out there. A lot of people talked about her. She finally won. I don't know if you read a report. I read a report that a lot of people were criticizing her because it felt like the match with Becky was like too,
It was
like
so choreographed. It was terrible.
yes. You didn't did well, I didn't hear your post. You didn't like the Sol Ruka
No,
Becky
I
match?
thought it was one of her best matches of there. It was just real choreographed. Everything was walked through. You could tell it was set up by stages of how we're going into everything to the point that she went to pick her up for the Bexploder and put her on the ring ropes for Soul to hit the finish.
Wasn't that the one also where Becky was gonna do like a leg drop and was yelling at her saying, "Yo, turn the other person."
Turn the wrong way. She turned the
Yeah.
wrong way, and then she had to scroll around and get there. Yeah.
But let me ask you, in something like that, right? Something like that. Why wouldn't Becky, knowing that she's been doing this a lot longer than Sol Ruka, why wouldn't she just kind of like audible it? She can't do it
Audible though, she's at the top rope. What are you audible to?
instead of dropping her leg drop on the right leg, she does it on her left leg.
You ever tried? That's like putting a person that bats right-handed to bat left-handed without ever doing it. You have to land differently because your weight is when you're right. When you come with your right leg, you shift your weight to your left.
So there's no way she could have audibled in that.
There's no way, but it's very.
Or instead of doing the leg drop, she could have called something else and then just maybe like a
but
frog
the only
splash or
problem
something.
is
I don't know.
because the match was so choreographed. So Ruka's
Well,
looking
that's
for
a
the
good
leg.
point. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, all right, but
Come
well,
up, you lean up like this so the leg hits your chest and
yes.
you go down. Now, if you're getting an elbow and you come up, oh,
All right. So now that we know that Soruka is the champion, um, who does she go up against? Who's up next for this girl? And can this girl hang?
The first thing I wrote after watching her thing was I put, "Oh, great, another fighting champion."
They all say the same shit all the time.
But again, but at least it is the women's intercontinental title. It's not the heavyweight titles
That's true.
or anything like that. This is a title that could be defended every week. But the problem with Soul is going to be you can't just throw her in there with anybody.
She's too green.
She just at that and I don't understand where the disconnect has come from because in NXT she looked like a star. She went up to the main roster on Saturday night's main event, looked great.
Yeah.
Now she gets pulled up to the main roster, and it is crazy the disconnect right now. I don't know.
I was thinking the same thing, no doubt. Lyra, but because Lyra has kind of taken a back seat
Yeah, but
for a
again,
minute
you're
now.
feeding them to her, so that might be a safe opponent. Bailey, Lyra. I know that she already
You-
fought Bailey and stuff like that, but I'm
No,
just
but you
thinking
give her people that she's fought in NXT before.
Natty. Natty might be one.
Yeah, give her people like that.
I think you're going to see a good helping of that coming at Sol Ruka here in the next future.
Yeah, because if you give her, maybe you could give her Chelsea Green as well. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure
that'd be a safe one because
that
Chelsea would just
and
make
I
her
can
look okay and bump.
because do you feel? Let me ask you this: do you feel right now that the IC women's belt and the USA women's belt are both gonna struggle with the two girls that are actually holding it right now, Tiffany and Soruka? Because they're banking on this youth. They're both brand new.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think the Intercontinental is going to take a back seat for right now. I mean, again, if Sol Ruka next week the light clicks and she starts doing what she was doing in NXT, I think that'll elevate the belt there. As far not elevate past what Becky did, but it won't be as far down as like, oh, there's Sol Ruka the champ or whatever. Tiffany, man, I don't know, man. I don't know what I don't know, man. It's just like she almost feels like she is the John Cena of the women's division. It's one trick pony. It's
He,
it's let's get to the best moonsault ever, and that's what she is.
but
And then that's where I feel like, and again, probably mostly on the creative end of it that it became that, but that's what it feels like it is. Like, okay, the matches, whatever, and then she does the shit outside and she hits her head every time on the mat. Like it's like I don't know. I don't know.
here's
I
my
would think yes, they're probably going to take a step back.
here's my issue with both of those girls being the champions right now for the USA and the IC belt. Number one, they could hurt somebody, or number two, they're gonna hurt themselves. That's the problem with those two girls right now. But maybe they need to work. Maybe that they'll only get better. That's I guess that's the only way you could get better, right? I guess doing it repetitively. So if you wrestle more and more and more, you should get better.
I mean, I would think so. I mean, So Ruka, the only thing I can think is that they went over the stuff so much with her that it was like muscle reflex in NXT. And then now she's not getting that. It's like only once a week, And then even if she goes back to NXT, she's working out with those girls and not, Bailey and not Becky and not, the roster, the main roster women. But I don't know where the disconnect comes from, man.
And now, I mean, you guys were criticizing my girl Jade Cargill. She's
Oh,
actually looking way.
one of without a doubt the best. As soon as they mentioned it, we all started. That was to date the best I've ever seen her look, and she felt comfortable. She looked comfortable. Her footing, just everything flowed in that match. It was very, and maybe it's because now she's in there with Rhea to where they're both not slow, but slower to where the match is methodical for her and not trying to be like, oh, I need to get here and here and here, and you're so worried about it. She didn't have to think because with Rhea's like, no, it's power
Yeah,
versus power. It very very simple match, and man, kudos to both. Kudos to both.
I'm proud of Jade. Jade has improved
The only
drastically.
thing
We
I
criticize
can't stand is that B-Fab messed it up. That's the problem.
we
Yeah,
we we Oh my God, B-Fab was rough. That was so
Jade,
bad. That was terrible.
I think Jade messed with her, honestly,
That was
because
so.
the leg was so far over she couldn't reach without coming into the ring.
You see
And,
the ref.
and
You see the ref doing this for like 2
Jade,
hours.
Jade waits to go. Jade waits for B Fab to slide in the ring to kind of grab her leg, and then she moves her leg over B Fab. Like I don't know where another disconnect there, but it was funny. It
It
was
was
almost
rough.
like what people used to do, like when we did independent shows, and you had like run-ins, and people would run in, and the other person would roll out that they were running into attack, and it'd be like you just see everybody freeze, like oh shit, what do we do now? Like just stupid stuff like that. That's what it felt like they were doing.
Yeah, yeah. But anything else? Anything else we didn't cover from Monday night? I think we covered almost everything, right?
Yeah, the only other thing that really happened was Io Sky advanced, which I, you
Oh,
know,
that she did. We expected that though.
yeah. I mean,
We expected
once it
that.
became the 4-way and I looked at that one, it was kind of like, yeah, you could kind of.
Well,
I
are
mean,
all of them 4-way now?
yeah, everything's 4-way. It's 4 matches, and then the semifinals and the finals is at Night of Champions.
So the next 4-way for the men's guy would be Mysterio, Breaker, Williams, and Priest.
Yeah,
And then the opposite side we have Uso, Knight, Royce Keys, and Finn Balor. And is it true that Finn Balor got moved to SmackDown? That was if that happened, that's
yep.
stupid.
Yeah. He sent out
Um,
a text with all of the main guys on the roster and said, "Friend or foe."
you know what? Why didn't they use Finn Balor to go and challenge like Roman? Like he was riding high, bro. See this. And then Seth Rollins, Evans, Tonga, and Ricky Saints. We'll see. See how it goes with those matches. All right. Anything else?
No, I think covered that one pretty good.
All right. What's the next topic? Yeah, we did. We just been a while.
Oh no, and also we did.
A
I
little bit of
forgot.
clash.
No, yeah, it was my mess up because I had already put the time for the clash already on the pre-post, and you weren't there, so that was my fault.
Well, you wrote on the topics WWE Raw thoughts after Clash and Italy. So I'm assuming you were like, oh, I'm pretty sure he wants to like also talk a little bit about Clash.
I
But
forgot that you weren't on the post. My whole thing was we'll just talk about Raw and how it coincides with Clash in Italy and be
that
done with it.
that's how much you
Instead,
love me. That
we had to do Clash of Italy and Raw. But hey, it's
that's
all
how.
good. Now we talk about. Let's do the date one real quick. June 28th. We'll just discuss this real quick.
Okay,
So on June 28th, it was
exciting.
already scheduled for TNA Slammiversary at 3 p.m., AEW Forbidden Door at 8 p.m., and WWE NXT said, not so fast. We're going to launch the pay-per-views on CW Network on June 28th at 7 p.m. Frankie Fresco, June 28th is going to be a very busy day for wrestling fans.
It's not only gonna be busy for wrestling fans. It's also gonna be busy because hold on, I'm trying to pull it up.
Is that the World
Like,
Cup?
yes, that day is good too. That is the World Cup round of 32. You're actually gonna have a round of 32 happening that night. So it's like it's at 12. It's at 12. So it probably what time is the TNA thing starting at 3?
3, yeah. So
Okay, so
probably
maybe they played their cards right because they put it at 12, and then they played it at 3. Okay, all right, that's not bad. But then you mentioned we have what AEW on there, the pay per view, and
AEW
NXT at
Forbidden
7,
Door, by the way, and NXT just got announced yesterday.
and NXT. Yes, for what is it? Just a regular NXT, or is it one of their premium live events?
Oh, it's the Great American Bash. They're doing
Oh,
CW is now broadcasting the NXT pay-per-views.
okay, perfect. I thought they were gonna be broadcasting YouTube as well. No, no more YouTube.
Don't
Maybe.
know.
Okay. I being honest with you guys, I have not been watching NXT because I'm sorry, man. NXT sucks, bro. Like it has been bad right now. I don't know how people are tuning into this because I tune in for like 2 seconds and I'm like, I can't watch this crap. No disrespect to the wrestlers, but it needs to get better. All right. So NXT is gonna take a big L on that one, man, because dude, you got a lot of wrestling that night. Like, and you know the AEW pay per views always deliver. And let's keep it real. If the hardcore fans are probably gonna watch wrestling at TNA at 3 o'clock, so you're gonna see like if you're are you literally gonna be watching wrestling from 3 o'clock to like well the AEW is probably gonna end at midnight or 1 o'clock in the
Like
morning.
12:30, 1 o'clock, somewhere
Yeah.
around there.
So think about it. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, almost 10 hours worth of wrestling. I love wrestling, but man, that's a lot. I'm not gonna lie. That's
No,
a
no,
lot of
I
wrestling.
agree with you. I think, look, if anybody that knows wrestling knows that AEW will deliver on pay per view, especially Forbidden Door, because that kind of goes with their whole, you know, realm of things where you get dream match after dream match after dream match. The sickos love that stuff. So, and I don't think that NXT is far enough along to where it's going to be. The interesting thing that I would wonder is why didn't they do it on Saturday, June 27th?
Let me see.
Is there a Saturday night's main event or something there?
Okay, so the reason I think they didn't do it on the 27th of June, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so from the looks of it, Sean, the 27th, I am assuming this has to be because of the World Cup. So the 27th on Saturday, you have um, Panama versus England, Croatia versus Ghana at 5 o'clock. So two games going out at 5, and then two games going out at 7:30. The biggest game on June 27th, baby. The game that everybody in the world wants to see, Colombia versus Portugal, is playing on the 27th at
Okay.
7
All right.
o'clock. And then on top of that, you have in Atlanta, Uzbekistan versus Congo. Nobody's probably going to watch that. And then at 9 o'clock at Arrow Field, you have Algeria versus Australia. So you have soccer running all the way from 5 o'clock all the way down to freaking probably midnight. So it's like,
I just think it's a bad weekend to try to even do this. And, like, I mean, again, the one thing, look, if you're going to go against an AEW collision or even a dynamite, if you throw a pay per view type card on there, that might work. But I think against their, especially Forbidden Door to me, because you usually get Will Ospreay against somebody big,
no,
and you get
they-
all of those names in AEW on pay per view against NXT, who right now, again, they are in the middle of building some guys. I mean, hell, I watched it yesterday. The Nikaru and Rook are in a number one contenders match to see who will get the title shot, and those two guys just got there,
Mhm.
and they're going to be in the number one contender match to see who gets the main event at this Great American Bash. So it's going to be one of them against Tony D'Angelo as of right now, being the main event. And yes, Tony, we're Wednesday now. We're only on Monday because I was traveling that Wednesday, and Frankie during Memorial Day weekend was a little busy, so we did on Memorial Day that week, and now we're back to our original Wednesdays now. And Bounce DJ, we acknowledge you too, sir.
Yeah, we acknowledge Tribal Chief, of course.
Yes.
There was somebody, and I'm trying to look it up because I saw it this past Saturday on Collision. It was because they were already building it up for the for Forbidden Door. It was the two girls. What was her names? Um, it was like an Asian girl, and then that other girl from I think she's from CMLL. That
DeFascini or whatever.
Puff Puff
DeFascini.
Puff Puff Puffetta or something like that is her
Yeah.
name. I don't know. I don't remember her
I
name.
think I know what you're talking about, yeah.
She's really good. Like she's very freaking good. Um, but and then oh here it is. Persephone. Persephone is the one. So Persephone came out. She was in ringside watching, and then the one wrestling was the Asian girl from I think she's from New Japan Wrestling, and they were ready. See, that's one thing. It's hard because a lot of people don't watch Collision, but and we'll talk about this because Mick Foley talks about this, and we're gonna talk about Mick Foley as well. But
Bubba did too.
and Bubba as well. So they're this is what I'm liking about AEW. I feel like they're starting to kind of get the hang of it, and that's why when we talk about those topics, it's gonna be interesting because I feel like Tony Khan is starting to look at it in a different way, and I see it as AEW is building up. I feel like AEW is getting better. So that's just how I feel, and we'll go into more into detail, obviously, with the next topics. But back to this topic. Again, it just we'll see what the numbers look like for NXT. Maybe people will tune in. Maybe people at least will tune
It's
in
not
for the first hour.
technically, but I think you'll get your WWE hardcores that will do it just because it's WWE. But I just don't think it's going to affect AEW's numbers at all.
Oh, not at
Because
all.
again, their pay per view numbers are their pay per view numbers. And if you look at the difference between who watches pay per views and who watches shows, there's a drastic difference on AEW side. All right, let's switch over to the AEW topics. Mick Foley, the one I wanted to talk about was the topic where he came out and spoke on the difference between Tony Khan and Vince McMahon. And then I'm going to read this from his. This was pulled off of the podcast that he did with, the interview he did with Ariel Helwani about the backstage approach between the two of them. He said, to see, this is Mick Foley's words here starting now. To see Tony backstage, it's really the word I'm coming up with is joyous because he's filled with joy in that position. He jumps up, the first thing he does, asks people if they're okay. He's happy. He's really happy. I said many times, there's no way. Sorry, I had a pop-up bump, jump up. I've said many times, there's no one way to cross the finish line, whether it's wrestling or portraying Santa Claus, or whether it's producing a pay-per-view. But I have to tell you, as a guy who always reacted better to a pat on the back than a kick in the butt, I would have really enjoyed that style. Mr. McMahon had his own style, of course, and he put you over. And when he put you over, it meant a lot. He didn't do it nearly as much. He didn't jump up from his seat to meet the talent that was coming through. Frankie, your thoughts on that difference between Tony and VKM?
I mean, everybody's different, right? There are wrestlers, just like athletes out there, that succeed better when you have somebody who approaches you and kind of gives you kudos, pats you in the back, kind of baby. Not, I wouldn't want to say babies you, but at least gives you that positive energy. Some people feed really well off of that. Some people don't want that. Some people want to feel, hey man, like this guy's an asshole and everything, but when I do something really good, the guy's gonna give me kudos for it. And it goes both ways. And for me, when I heard that interview with Mick Foley, I felt like Mick Foley is the type of guy that, he's different. He's very different than a lot of people. I mean, in that interview, if you haven't checked it out, you should, because it's really good. You get a different side from Mick Foley. Like, he explains why he left WWE and his whole situation with Trump and politics and all that stuff. But like I said, I think at the end of the day, for Tony Khan, he needs to have the right wrestlers. And I think right now he does. I think when he had the likes of CM Punk, that would not, I don't think CM Punk is the type of guy who likes to be like, hey, good job, CM Punk. CM Punk doesn't care about that shit. CM Punk is like, I've been in this industry for years. I don't need no pat in the back. I could do this with my eyes closed. That's not how Tony Khan runs it. That's why it probably didn't work the same way. Now you look at the Will Ospreys. You look at the Darby Allens. I'm pretty sure these guys he's giving them kudos because these guys are delivering for him. So I think at the end of the day, Mick Foley saying this, I respect him. I still think Mick Foley, you got a hell of a run with him when Vince McMahon was running the show, because Mick delivered. And even though I wonder if Mick Foley would have been as good as he is, as good as he was, had Tony Khan been the guy running the show. I don't know that, because again, the only drawback that you could have also with too much kudos is that there's no need to strive for anything more, because at the end of the day, you think you're doing everything right. And sometimes you do need a slap in the hand and tell you, hey man, get your shit together. So that's what I take from that. I don't know. What about you?
Yeah, no, I think it shows a little bit also about where I think everybody coming back through the curtain, if Tony Khan is saying good job, and I'm some of those guys and gals, and I know I was just in a ring with a guy that didn't do his all. You come back through a curtain and somebody's getting kudos. Like I feel like that would be like a little like, that way. But again, everybody's different how they manage things, and I would never. That's Tony's leadership style. That's what Tony likes to do. But I do see where, like you use CM Punk as an instance. Like he sees these guys doing stuff they don't need to be doing, and they come back to the curtain, and Tony's like, "Oh, great job, kudos." And I could see where it could be frustrating, where it's like, it wasn't great. It wasn't, and now they think that is good, and then that's the standard's been, okay, that is good, so that's what we need to get to, So I can see both sides. I can see what you're saying, but again, I think it's everybody's. But also, I think the only problem I see with that is you can't kudos everybody that comes back through. I mean, you could, you don't have to sit there and berate them like I heard, Vince do, or in stories that Vince did to people and degrade them and everything else. I don't think you need to do that. But I also don't think you can't walk back through the curtain and be like, "Great job," when it really wasn't. Like that would grow on me there. And I understand Nick's point on it. Mick's point on it. Sorry, Nick's point. Mick's point on it. And also, I need to correct something that I said. I think it was last week or a week before. Shad Khan. There was a story that came out, and at the time I didn't do the research. I was working on getting the research done, and now I have done my research because the story came out and was like Mick Foley left the WWE to join AEW, who Shad Khan donates money to Trump. And the truth is, Shad Khan did donate money to Trump in 2016. By 2017, he was against Trump. So he said he thought he liked the way that he would run the business side, and that didn't work out. And then I guess Trump actually tried to buy a part of the Buffalo Bills, and Shad Khan was the one that voted no. So as I went deeper into the research, it was not as cut and dry as the story that I had read before about the whole thing. So I want to make sure I put that out there because I had originally said that Mick had jumped from one to the other without thinking, knowing but apparently Mick knew the whole story. I did not know the whole story, and now I do. So now I will leave that at that. Frankie, the other part that I want to talk about on AEW.
Oh wait, before
Yep.
is there any way we could talk a little bit more about that interview?
Yeah, which part? I only highlighted that part.
Okay, so a couple things that he did, because we spoke about it last week. His role. He mentioned Nick Foley said that he wanted that he doesn't want to be a GM, which sucks because that's what I kind of want. That's what I said last week. I would have loved to have seen him as a GM role, but he's done it. But Sean, he mentioned two things, and one of them for me was just a shake in the head. Like I was like, no.
I know where you're going.
Number one, he said that he would be a manager to improve the heels or babies and even the middle of the tier wrestlers, ladies or guys, and make them bigger and better. And then you know where I'm going with this. They asked him if he would like to go back and give it one last run in the AEW in a match. And he says that his health has improved. He's lost 100 pounds. He's doing a lot better. And that if everything points in the right place, that he is willing to do it. That he would get back in the ring at least one more time, but this time in AEW. Sean, you know me. I told you I don't want to see him in the ring. And especially in that interview where when Ariel asked him if there was things he could have done differently. One of the biggest things that he said is he wishes that he would have protected himself, especially with those chair shots because of concussions and all that stuff. Hello, I'm dealing with it right now, and I'm not a wrestler.
The whole thing about that part, though, is think about this. If Mankind, Cactus Jack, or whichever part of the Mick Foley character you're talking about is protecting himself from chair shots. Is he the Mick Foley, Cactus Jack, mankind that we talk about today?
He could be. I wouldn't say that it would have hurt him. Because now here's the thing. You could do certain things like that. But he took a lot of shots. And one thing that he
Well, no,
mentioned it.
I mean, you're not even talking about the exploding barbed wire matches
Yeah.
with Terry Funk
No,
and
no.
Sabu and all them before he even got to
Yeah.
I mean, WWE calmed him down actually.
Yeah. But think about it, Sean. You don't have to do that in every single match. You don't. And when they mentioned Darby Allin, and Ariel asked him, "Hey, have you spoken to Darby?" Because Darby is a very good resemblance of Mick Foley. He takes hits everywhere, and Darby's a young guy. And now Mick Foley, after at his age, he knows what his body feels like because of all those hits he took. That's probably gonna be Darby Allin if everything is okay with him. But he could be in bad situation because he keeps taking all these hits really bad. So, and one thing that Darby Allin said, and Mick thought about it the same way when he was coming up, was like, I gotta deliver to everybody at that show, no matter if it's a pay-per-view or if it's a regular. Whenever I'm out there on the ring, I gotta deliver a show. But that's when you gotta also take care of yourself, because Sean, man, the outcome in the long run, it's bad. Look at Hulk Hogan. Like he
But I
was.
mean, it's a different time frame now. There's not many. I mean, AEW still does some headshots, but in WWE, most of the time you won't see a headshot. I mean,
Thank God.
maybe every once in a while you might get one, but most of the time you're not getting what you got. I mean, think about it. Go back to his I Quit match with The Rock, the infamous one where his kid's crying in the front row because he's handcuffed, just taking chair shot after chair shot after chair
Oh,
shot.
that's crazy.
Because before they talked, he told The Rock, just swing, keep swinging, keep swinging.
Yeah, he did.
So your handcuffs are your hands are handcuffed behind you, and you're taking chair shots. And then that doesn't even, again, going back to when he was in WCW, there was the shows on Saturday night where he was taking slams from the apron and pulling the padding up and hitting the concrete floor.
All like Darby Allin type of vibes too.
The elbow drop off the apron. Like, your body can only take so many of those. And yeah, I mean, again, if he does the manager role, I think he could do a couple of matches to where he's the third guy and he does nothing but the comedy part of it. But yeah, he doesn't need to wrestle. He does not need to be in a match. Like, I don't want to see no MJF versus Mick Foley or anything like that. Like, again, and that's one of the things where, like, I don't know why like, you're bringing this guy back. Why even ask him about a match? Like we don't need that in the ring right now. Be there for our young guys and gals, and be a director or a creative director. Maybe we get you a managing role or whatever it is, if that is what you have to do to entice them. But, like, no, you don't need that in the ring.
But here's the problem with, not only with in sports in general, but almost in anything that you do that you love, right? And people forget that father time eventually catches up to you. There's a lot of wrestlers out there, a lot of athletes, a lot of, anything that you do, that you're going to sacrifice yourself because you've been doing this for all your life. And then once you can't do it anymore, you miss it. I mean, look at Sabu before he passed away. He kept going.
Frankie. But then let me ask you this, man. And again, I'm going with wrestling because most of the time, the other sports, you're not coming back. I know you may want to play football.
Well, no, not only that. Well, what about the girl who was figure skating in the Olympics, bro? She
The downhill, she broke her leg and
yeah, like come on, man. And she was like, I think my age, 41.
yeah, but she's one of the best slope skiers ever.
Exactly. So why the hell did she have to go back there? And it was because if you win a gold medal or you win a medal, great. But then what? people forget about you.
No, but again, this would have been her second Olympics. She just hurt her leg beforehand. That took her out, and she probably shouldn't have been up there because she came back early on the thing. I mean that's just coming back from injury though. But I mean, you're talking about these guys getting in a ring, and they can't do what they did that made them the name that they have. Like that's the problem. Like when I look at these guys, and I look at some of these, you know, let me, like the guys that
Chris
do all
Jericho.
Rick. Let's go with Ricochet. Ricochet, okay.
Okay.
And this might be bad because I feel like he's gonna age and just doesn't matter for
Yeah.
some reason. But like when he gets to a certain age, he's not gonna be able to hit 630 splashes and flip over the top rope and land on his feet on the outside and all that stuff that I know Ricochet can do. Once he loses that, who is Ricochet? You know what I'm saying? And that's where, like a lot of these guys, and, maybe tonight we don't get to it because we're way behind on topics. We might have a 3-hour show here if we do anything else. But when you look at it, if you can't do what made you, the person that they respect now, don't go tarnish it by trying to do. Like again, if you want to do a comedic spot in the ring or something like that, okay, but don't go out there to have a match when Mick Foley wasn't even known for having matches before. He was known for having car crashes.
Yeah, dude.
Like that's the problem where a lot of these guys fail, and God, I wish we were going to that subject next because this is where I feel like they forget who they are in the ring because they so badly want to be that outside the ring. And as you said, yeah, you kind of get forgotten a little bit about, but you're not the same person anymore. That's the problem.
But it's so hard to let go too. That's the problem.
It is, but at some point you have to understand. And again, I had never been to that level to where, I've never been to a Mick Foley or Ric Flair. I'm thinking everybody's wrestled way past their time frame.
I mean, look at Chris Jericho. He hasn't let go.
Never had. Yeah, but Chris Jericho got to a point in his life to where it became a skit in a way, and then he got serious when he got back to AEW.
Yeah.
This last few years in WWE was really about the list and all that stuff, and that's what he had become. And then he got back in AEW and he wanted to wrestle 40-minute matches again, and I was like, ugh.
Well, look at Ric Flair. Look how long he wrestled for.
Exactly. And then when he came back, he wanted to do a rematch. Like, and they were talking about running that. I'm like, bro, how again? Yes, when you were in the ring in your heyday, you were doing 300 days a year, an hour, but that's not who you are now. And that's where, legacies get tarnished. Because now, unfortunately, in today's age, we're recency biased.
All day.
I forgot about that Nature Boy that went 1 hour on a Monday, 1 hour on a Tuesday, an hour on a Thursday, an hour on a Saturday. I forgot about him because I'm watching this one. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the part where I think a lot of these guys, you got to sit back and go, okay, you want me to do what? Okay, I can do a little bit of that. But again, for Mick Foley to get in a match, I need him to do the diving elbow off the apron. I need him to do stuff that his body probably can't do right now.
I mean, think about it. The UFC fighters, Anderson Silva, a guy who fought, and had no business fighting after a long time. Chuck Liddell's another one that suffered a lot because he just didn't know how to call it quits.
The problem is once they get that, what is it, punch drunk, or like one punch, where normally you could take a lot of punch and eat them. Like Chuck Liddell for a long time in his career could take punishment.
Yeah.
Then as he got older, that punishment couldn't take anymore.
His chin couldn't hold up.
Done.
Yeah.
And it was like that. Let's. And then I mean, I believe if I understood the story right, it was Dana that kind of pulled the plug on Chuck because Chuck wouldn't pull the plug on himself.
Well, I remember when Dana had told on Chuck and Tito because Oscar was doing the Golden Boy fight, and it was Chuck and Tito, and Dana White was like, I don't know why they're doing that. Like, all right, Chuck and Tito have no business going inside an octagon ring again at their age, and if you saw that fight, you probably would have agreed. But
there comes a time to where if you really want to cement your legacy, then you have to be remembered for what you are in the ring.
Yeah, man. But
That's
again,
why
like it's
everybody remembers. Look,
so hard.
look. I know all the stuff that he did in his ring and all the drug problems and whatever with Shawn Michaels, but people remember the Heartbreak Kid because he doesn't keep doing the I gotta be seen. No, I'm done. That was before. I can't do that anymore.
But I
Yeah,
think also Shawn
I can
Michaels is
deliver I can deliver a super kick here and there, but I'm not gonna sit there and go back in and try to wrestle.
yes. But here's the key thing. Once you leave or like officially lay your gloves or call it quits, you have to find a niche that, in my opinion, is still very associated to what you did. And then if you're good at it and you start loving it, then there's no reason to go back into the wrestling ring, into an octagon, into a field, into skating, whatever. So like Shawn Michaels is a perfect example. They gave him the opportunity to run NXT and he found his niche. He's like, "Yo, I love this."
Yeah.
He wasn't like that. I seen the video of Maven saying, "Yo, Shawn Michaels wasn't like that when I was wrestling."
At WrestleMania 14. I mean, he said himself, he's on so much drugs, you don't even remember it.
Yeah, and he
He just
would
remembers
treat.
being so like done with it that and you don't even remember what happened. Like,
But now he found his niche. Now he runs NXT and he enjoys it. And now he
but
enjoys
also
teaching
you've
talent.
got to. But also the other part of it is he's got to swallow a little bit of his ego.
That is true.
He's got to not be Shawn Michaels. He's got to be Michael Hickenbottom to be able to sit there and do that. That's the problem that a lot of them, like, they don't become like using me just by name because it's easier. You're Sean Allen in the ring, you're Sean Stanley outside of the ring.
Yeah.
You got to be able to separate that. And unfortunately, there's some in that can't separate it. They think that's who they are. And yes, you might have lived that lifestyle when you were doing it, but that you got to be able to separate them because
And again,
after a while, it becomes if you're always that person, that's what they're remembering. They're not remembering the guy that went, using Ric Flair as an example, 60 minutes every night of the week.
and look,
Legend in the ring, but it's starting to lose a little bit of tarnish from outside the ring curriculars.
and these guys are huge, famous, and gals, famous as hell. I'll give you a perfect example of a nobody. Myself, I love playing soccer. I suffered a concussion. At my age, it's not healthy. The doctor told me, Frankie, you gotta go get yourself checked. And if the doctor clears you, you really have to consider if you really want to play soccer again. And it's hard because I haven't been playing for the last 3 weeks, 4 weeks now. And it's hard. And nobody's watching me. No, I'm not getting paid. I'm not doing anything. Just the love of playing. So I get where a lot of people come
Let me
with.
tell you, Frankie, right now, I will go with my phone. You'll set your cleats down. I will record it.
And
That's it. I just record it for you so you can get a lasting impression.
oh, you're an idiot.
I'm serious. I'll do it if it comes down to it to where you have to. We'll put together a little video for you, man.
Yeah, man, it's tough. It's tough, man,
I
because
mean, it's not, dude. Like when
tough.
when I transitioned into doing radio and stuff like that, and I had to leave. I mean, of course, I was older and stuff there too, but and again, I was never to the level that a lot of these athletically or anything. Not that I was like, if I stayed around, great. I'm doing 10 more years, maybe here on the South Florida scene. But at some point, I was just like, yeah, you know what? Okay, it's great. But then again, we went that one time, and then I was like, oh, God, I wish I could do it again. And I told you, I was like, I don't think I can do any more shows.
See, I didn't want
Only
to. I didn't want to
shows
bring that
because I'm
up.
sitting there like,
Yeah.
oh, I watched something, and I'm like, oh, I would have done that differently. Oh, I could have done that. Oh,
Yeah.
And it's like, you start, like you said, it's like, okay, yeah, you do get the itch, but also you have to understand, though, that's where the ego part has to come out, and that's the problem where some people
And your health, right? Your health.
yeah, well, no, yeah, definitely. I was still
Your
moving around.
health. God forbid Mick Foley gets goes in the ring and could hurt himself.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and he's not in shape. I mean, yeah, great, you lost 100 pounds, but Mick, you were never a guy that was like in shape, anyways. And now, what, you're gonna go out there for an hour and try to wrestle for something? Like, that's the one thing. Let's talk another thing real quick, Bubba. We got about 20 minutes, and then we'll be out of here because I don't want to keep everybody. And to you either, Frankie. I mean, you've been on here already So Bubba did some things, and he talked about. He came out against last week's episode of Dynamite, saying the show failed to build on the excess of AEW Double or Nothing 2026. Now, again, remember the pay per view thought was a rousing success. Here's his comments. Okay, he said on this week's Dynamite being business as usual. He said, "I thought maybe, just maybe, with Philadelphia as the backdrop," he cursed there, for his first live TV show after the pay per view. You've got 4,000 people. 4,000 people can sound very, very lively, and then business as usual. I can't stress to AEW enough how much they need a rallying cry from their fans. You can't keep doing what you're doing. Yes, you'll have a great pay-per-view. Yes, people will love it, and then people are going to be like, the TV turns into no big deal. AEW fans need a reason other than AEW TV. They need to be proud of the company. They need to want to be a part of this movement. Otherwise, I feel like they just keep getting let down every week with television, especially the TV coming out of pay-per-views. Then he said on AEW needing to celebrate its victories more often. He said, I experienced it firsthand with ECW. I'm not saying AEW needs to be the next ECW. I'm saying you can learn from some sort of things that ECW did really well. And there was never been a fan base in history that has been loyal to a company as ECW fans were to ECW by far. So all I'm saying is AEW, please celebrate the victories with your fans. Don't allow them to forget about it because you just move on. Start off your show by going, hey, 2 nights ago we did this, and we're going to continue to do this, and we appreciate you being by our side. Frankie Fresco, I know you're Mr. AEW, and we've talked many times on this show. AEW delivers consistently on pay-per-view. Do they have some letdowns here and there? Yes. But it feels like there's a disconnect between pay-per-views and TV shows. Your thoughts on where Bubba Ray was going with those comments?
Okay, if I go back a couple of months ago, I could agree with what he's saying. But not now. What is he talking about now? I think right now, Dynamite, I mean, I just finished telling you that in Collision, they were already showing us and giving us a little bit of taste of what we're going to get for Forbidden Door. You had MJF, who just beat Darby Allin, out there again, celebrating his world championship. And then here comes the next guy who wants to come after him. You had the whole Kevin Knight.
Tonight, by the way.
You had Kevin Knight, the betrayal to Speedball. You have all that lined up. What the hell is he talking about? I think they're doing a really good.
I don't think he's talking about like the storylines of expanding the storylines there. What he's saying is, you know, come out and celebrate like how great the pay-per-view was as a whole. Yes, you're extending the storylines. Yes, you're doing all that, but it just becomes another TV show. Like for instance, how does every WWE pay-per-view start? Or Raw after usually. Last night in
recap.
We're in Italy, then they go through the recap or things like that.
But AEW does that too.
Things like that to get the fan base excited. Because again, man, I think the problem with AEW isn't, I mean, they're growing. Their attendance, the last 4 shows, live attendance was 2389 in Asheville, 2896 in Portland, 3856 in Philly, and tonight's going to be 3172. And again, they run smaller buildings, so I'm not saying they're not selling 3,000 seats in a 20,000 stadium. I don't know what they can hold. I don't know if they're sellouts or not, but the attendance for live shows are growing. Problem is the numbers for TV are not.
But here's my thing. When he says that, what is he talking about? Because they do recaps of what happened during the pay-per-view. Like, they won't do it to start off the show, but let's say MJF is gonna come and talk about it, they'll do the whole snippet and show the what happened that previous pay-per-view to lead up to MJF coming out and then talking about it. So I don't get what he's saying that. I don't understand why he's criticizing that, because AEW is doing that. They don't do it like WWE right off the beginning and do like a whole summary recap, but they do snip it into each one of them. So when he says that, I don't get him. I don't see the disconnect. I honestly see that that is the right thing. Now, why is there a disconnect between the Wednesday night and Saturday night shows compared to the premium live events? Sean, to be real honest with you, I, I, I feel like I think before I like I told you, I think they would just not drag it, like just let it go and move on to the next one. I think they're. I don't know if the numbers are gonna get improved, but I feel like I'm actually wanting to tune into Dynamite. Like today, I want to see who's going up against who's gonna win between MJF and Roosh. I want to see who is gonna be the wild card. It might be Mercedes Monet. It might be Zelina Vega. I don't know. I want to know who that girl is who's gonna fight against Alex Windsor. Like they got me invested. Like I don't get it. I months ago I could agree 100% with Bubba,
Well, I
but
think
now I
we,
don't. I
we've
feel like
talked
they're
about
going the
this
right way.
before. We've talked about this before, though. We're not the wrestling fans that AEW needs to target. They need to target the casuals to grow, because we're gonna watch it regardless. Me, you.
Well, no. There was a couple of times that we have.
I mean, there's been times where we won't watch it for a while, but again, we look at it and say, "Oh, now they're getting better. We can get reinvested back into it."
Yes.
Some people will be like, "I'm done with their TV. I'll watch their pay-per-views, and that's it." Because again, most of the time you don't have to keep up with their. You used to not have to keep up with their TV shows to understand the pay-per-view. You didn't. You knew the match was gonna inside the ring was gonna be 5 stars, 4 stars, whatever, and go from there. And also, Dave Meltzer, got a question for you, my man. Why the women can't get 4 stars? 3.25, 3.75. Every male match was 4.75 or higher. I mean, what's going on there, bro? All right, but anyways, I digress. But I think there is a question there to where did they lose certain people to where it's like I won't go back to AEW TV, but I'll watch their pay-per-views.
I mean, they've trained their fans like that, right? I think that
Yeah.
that could be it because that's the same way you could say they've trained the WWE fans. So maybe that's
Yeah.
and it's gonna take and it's
Been
gonna
conditioned to know
and it's gonna
that they
take time.
have to do that. Like, because like again, you tuned into this pay-per-view and you're like, what the hell's Kevin Knight doing? If you weren't following the shows, you had no idea what the hell was going on there. You're like, oh, Kevin Knight, oh, okay, all right, oh, he turned. I mean, any wrestling fan would know, okay, he did a turn, but you wouldn't have been able to know how it was coming along because if you watch TV, you could see how it was kind of developing. I didn't expect it to happen then, but once it did, I was like, oh, okay, that's what they're building up to. Good, that was good. You know what I'm saying? And that's where I think a lot of the problem comes from. And it's not. I think he might have used the wrong words like celebrating wins to being more connecting. And I think that has just to go to conditioning the audience to being like, hey, if you miss an episode, you're going to miss something.
Yeah.
Whereas before, you could miss episodes and it didn't mean a whole lot.
Yeah, because again, it was they focus a lot more on the wrestling in the ring, right? So if it's just two guys wrestling, it's like for example, let's say if the UFC decided to do a series every Monday, and at the end of the day, you don't get invested on those guys or gals, and then you know that there's a fight on June 20th or something. There you go. You're just going to tune into the fight on June 20th. You have to be invested on these guys and gals in order for you to want to keep finding out what's going to happen the next week. There's a reason why the bloodline worked for so long. But again, it has to make sense, right? I think that's where WWE is kind of lacking right now because I get them doing the bloodline, but I don't get them why bring it back again.
It's about dollars, not cents.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's what Tony Khan is trying to do now. I think he's trying to develop these stories and make the Wednesday nights not so much Saturdays because Saturdays are good too, but I feel like Saturdays are so hard for AEW to get the fan base. I mean, look, remember they used to have the Friday night shows as well, and that eventually had to be, cut off. But at the end of the day, I think he's improving in that. That's why for Bubba Ray to say this right now, I felt like, yo, it's the wrong time, bro. Like you should have said this months ago. They're making a
He's been
turn.
he's been preaching it. His whole thing though has been he feels like they should get more out of the great pay per view showing than what they give themselves. Is kind of because I read it and then I kind of went back to watch and it is kind of more about like you had this great pay per view and yes you extended the storylines, but you didn't build yourself on how great the pay per view was. It was moving on to the next thing. It was you know automatically MJF now is moving on to Roosh instead of talking about how great of the match it was and everything there and leading into that. You're moving on.
But if you
That,
do that, if AEW does that, do you think they're gonna get any more followers watching the show? No, I don't
don't know.
think so.
Again, I don't know.
I don't think
I don't,
so.
I don't think so. But
I think the only way you're gonna okay
give
if you
conditions are fixed. They've
if
got the
you
sickos that'll stay there, and then you've got probably more casuals tuning into their pay per views than are actually watching their TV.
if you were running AEW, what would you do differently on their Wednesday night shows, possibly the Saturday night shows, in order to get more casual fans to now start tuning in to their weekly shows instead of just tuning into their pay-per-view shows?
I I'd have to go back through and look at a lot of things
Okay. I,
because the whole thing before was when they were doing a lot more storylines, in which I know now they're starting to do it again, but I don't know when they started that process because again they do this where you got your storylines and the big main and then the other stuff is kind of flopping there a little bit, but also again when you have a TV you want to try to get as many people involved on to camera because you're trying to run 15 matches at the pay-per-view, so everybody's got to get some type of TV time because it was funny to me to see the 0 hour when it was the Shane Taylor against all those guys, and I'm like, I don't remember seeing QT Marshall on TV or hear about him on ROH or anything. And all of a sudden now he's broken out during the pay per view and thrown in this 10-man match. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like there's a little bit of a disconnect there. But again, that goes back to where they've conditioned their fans for that, though. For me, like I said, man, me and you, when we all started this, it was they need to keep the storylines going and keep them rolling. And they try to go a different way. And I don't know that you can come back from that.
I think
You can, but it's going to take a while. It's not something that's going to flip overnight because people are going to don't want to be like, oh, here we go. They're going to do it to us again, get us, and then cut it off. I mean, hell, this is the company that threw their heavyweight belt in a bag for what, 8 months?
a briefcase, sir. A briefcase.
Whatever it was, a briefcase for 8 months.
I will say this in addition, and just to piggyback on what you said, I agree with you, but I think one thing they need to do, which will help them, and I know they want to be different than WWE, but sometimes you gotta kind of like, you could still be different, but kind of use the same kind of concept, and I think they're doing it. Look how WWE is using Danhausen, right? People are going to tune in on SmackDown because they expect to see Danhausen there as well. There's some people who are just going to be like, oh, I want to see it. And even if you don't see it, you might see it on social media and be like, oh, let me go. If I recorded SmackDown, let me go check it out again. Let me see that part, right?
Today on ESPN, he popped back up and he went after Stephen A. And Stephen A's like, oh, this guy's going to try to blackmail me now because of the Knicks. Like, they have him involved on the ESPN program about the Knicks and the finals now. And again, that's WWE superstar Danhausen. You know what I'm saying? Like,
So I think AEW needs to do the same, and they kind of are. And I'll give you a perfect example of who. We spoke about him. Leo Rush. On Saturday, you had the conglomeration all chilling in the background, and then all of a sudden, I think it was
Cassidy.
it wasn't Cassidy. It was Kyle. No, not Kyle O'Reilly. It was the other one.
It was Roderick. It was Kyle.
Roderick. It was Roderick.
Cassidy
Roderick.
that was
Yeah.
there.
So Roderick Strong goes and says, "What is that?" And then all of a sudden you see Leo Rush with the umbrella, and then you see him move out, and then he starts creeping out, and then all of a sudden Orange Cassidy out of the blue naturally, which was the best thing you could do, and I think they should do it with everybody now, says don't move and he won't attack us, or he won't do anything to us,
Don't move and he can't see you. And
and you can't see it. Yeah, exactly.
That's when he was going through the screen real slow.
Sean, I didn't watch Collision, but as soon as I saw that on social media, I went, because I record Collision all the time. I went to Collision and I started watching it. And I was like, oh, let me go to that part in particular. And then if something else intrigues me, okay, let me tune in. So I feel like the AEW needs to do that. Because if they, again, you're not stealing the idea from WWE. Anybody could do it. It's just who's more catchier.
It's getting you invested in a part. I mean, that's what I've always said, is that they have to get people MJF is a draw on TV because people are invested in them.
Remember when he used to do the Adam Cole thing, and they used to do those little highlight reels, those highlight videos, the kangaroo kick. A lot of people I wanted to see MJF because I wanted to see him do the kangaroo kick, because everybody wants to see the rock bottom. Everybody wants to see the spear from Braun Breaker. You need to do something that captivates you, that you're like, damn, I want to watch it every single time. When back in the day with the Attitude Era, when you had Cena and The Rock and Stone Cold and all these guys, they were all talk so much trash. You wanted to watch because you love their trash talking. You love what they did. That's what you need to focus on, and find a niche for each one of these guys. And you have one in MJF. His mic skills are ridiculous. They're very good. He needs to. I feel like they need to do more of those with like what they did with Adam Cole. Like he needs to do those little videos, even if it's by himself or whatnot, because people are invested on him. Like people will see it. I remember we were talking about this. I was like, why the hell is MJF and Adam Cole dancing? Like, what is this crap? And you loved it. And then eventually what happened with me? I said, bro, you know what? I take it back. You're right, bro. This is actually entertaining. I like it.
It makes you invested because, again, the problem with like a lot of people, and this is where I think the AEW, they wanted their program to feel so real that people forgot it was pro wrestling. And unfortunately, it's called All Elite Wrestling. It's not All Elite Fighting. It's All Elite Wrestling. And you want people to forget that you're pro wrestling and look at, and yes, the athleticism is part of it. That's why Will Ospreay, people are like, oh man, Kyle Fletcher caught my attention because I'm like, this dude's got something, man. Like when he first came in, and I was like, oh, and then I was watching him, I'm like, dude can go. And now you watch him and he's the proto star. And it's like, okay. And these guys have got the conglomeration. You're telling me you can't get Mark Briscoe to sit at a desk and do a conglomeration talk show, Piper's Pit or something stupid with those guys? I mean, their entrances was like the Fringe, where they got the couch and they come in the door. Like there's little stupid things you could do on there. You know, like, I mean, even with get MJF a talk show or something where he interviews people and runs them down, like what Bailey did with the Ding Dong or whatever it was that she did on the thing where just like as a heel you just run everybody down no matter what. There's things you can do with guys there. The problem is they want to throw and I don't mean nothing against them, but like the Death Riders, great, they can kick ass, but this is pro wrestling. They're not really kicking ass.
No, because a lot of times they lose too.
No, but I mean, yeah, they probably are the most legit badasses on it, and they could whoop my ass right now. But I also know this is pro wrestling. So, yeah, okay, great. They go in there, but it's like Daniel Garcia, I thought was better as a dancer when he did his stupid thing than he is now as this, like, now I'm supposed to believe he's a badass?
Yeah, he's kind of disappeared. His fall.
And his arms are, like, that big?
Yeah.
I'm not acknowledging anybody. I'm just serious. He's not the biggest guy.
Yeah, sure.
He might be able to come out there and whoop my ass. I don't know. But it sure as hell don't feel like he could.
Yeah, he's taking a backdrop. I'm not going to lie.
And then you put him in with Claudio, who's a legit badass, and Pac. And it's like, I'm supposed to be afraid of him? The other two scared the shit out of me. This guy, no.
And don't forget that Will Ospreay was...
Punch him with all of them there, Marina included. I'm probably punching Daniel Garcia.
And not only that, but they also stuck in Will Ospreay for a minute there, like him training with them. So I'm like, damn, like Danny Garcia is like really, really falling behind here because
What I
I
did like about the Will Ospreay story is they didn't make Will Ospreay a comedic character anymore. And I thought that was cool when he came to the ring and he meant business. And he had to mean business because he was taking on Samoa Joe. I felt like it brought out another layer for Will Ospreay. So I like the fact that they did that.
gotcha. Yeah, it wasn't bad. Wasn't bad.
All right, we'll save the other topics for next week because I'm sure the other one will be around for a long time, almost as long as the ride for Space Mountain.
Ah, this guy.
All right. Frankie, my friend, man, let them know where they can get a hold of you.
Yeah, man, you can catch me at Fresco Music or Frankie Fresco on all social media platforms. You could also catch me. I'm usually DJing around here and there. So if you follow me on social media and you ever want to say what's up and meet me in person, just tune into my stories. I'm usually there. I'm usually DJing whenever I can. And then of course, I don't know. Dude, I'm very, very I'm contemplating it, Sean. There might be the return of a podcast, but just for the World Cup. Cause
Oh, cool.
my brother and me, we talk a lot, and then we might bring in somebody too, and it might be in Spanish actually, because my papa wants to talk soccer. So I told my dad, I
Dude,
was
you
like,
gotta
Dad,
do it, bro. Do it,
I
man.
said, I don't know, because my
Do it.
dad was. If you think I'm bad when I get upset and you get upset, like my dad is like
That's perfect, though.
twice upset with you
Yeah,
when
but
when
you know what? There's
when we
somebody out there that can relate to that, especially when it's their team letting them down. Like, I
yeah,
mean, that's dude, that's good stuff, man. That's
my
awesome.
dad. So so
Come
we
over to
might.
friend- You know what? I will sit there and listen to it on subtitles.
So we might be working on that. Might be working on that. I talked to my dad, and my dad said he's down. I said, "All right, Dad, let me see if I could get something in." Especially since my dad is retired, so he really doesn't have like the only one that actually doesn't have the time is me. I'm the one that has to make time for him.
Everybody's on your schedule, Frankie Fresco.
Yeah, because he has any day. He could do anything. I mean, as long as he doesn't have
What's
like a
gonna
doctor's
happen? Your
appointment.
brother and him are gonna do the podcast. And you're gonna be jumping in on your car, driving from gig to gig.
It's so crazy, but like over the weekend I called my mom and I told my mom, because I don't know if you saw, if you guys don't know, here in Miami, unfortunately there was a shooting in the IHOP, and that was right by my house. That was not that far away. That was where I live. I don't go to that IHOP anymore. I used to go to it, but I'm not an IHOP person. I'm more of a Denny's. I like Denny's better.
Oh no, you gotta get them.
The problem with IHOP is that IHOP service sucks. It's so bad with service. It takes forever to get there, but Denny's service is good, and I like Denny's nachos, man. So I'm not gonna lie. Anyways, long story short, there was a shooting there. So my mom calls me. She's like, "Frankie, are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, why?" She's like, "Did you hear?" I'm like, "You know what's funny? I did hear about that shooting. I saw it on social media, and funny enough, when the shooting happened, I was coming back home from DJing, so I saw those cops there and everything." And I was like, "Oh, I'm not gonna go through there because it's probably gonna be like some issues. So let me just make a left turn here and go down this other road." So we started talking about that, and then my dad got on the phone, and we just started talking soccer, and then we ended up talking for like 4 hours, just straight soccer, going back and forth between me and him. So my dad brought it up. I said,
Time strain on that though, because I don't know if everybody's gonna listen for 4
no. But my dad is a beast when it comes to that. Like he doesn't care. He'll talk his mouth off. Like he could be wrong. He could be wrong 20,000 times.
That makes it even better.
But
That
he is
makes it
not
even
gonna
better,
he's not
bro.
gonna let it go. So we'll see what I could do. And then one last thing, I want to give a shout out to the homie. I haven't seen him because I'm pretty sure he's having dinner with his family and stuff like that. But shout out to the homie Official DJ Memo. Today's his birthday, turning 29. So
Happy birthday, Memo.
happy birthday to Official DJ Memo. Happy birthday to my friend DJ Entice. He's actually one of the DJs at 103.5 The Beat. His birthday is tomorrow, so happy birthday to him. And then also, last but not least, my friends Frisco and Yoyi, their birthdays were yesterday. So happy belated birthday to those guys. Everybody's birthday. Everybody I know is their
Man,
birthday.
happy birthday to all. Happy birthday to all.
So happy birthday to all those.
You good there?
Yes, you're good.
You never gave your social media or
Yeah, I did. I said you follow me at Reggae Franco. Oh, and don't forget to hit the subscribe and like for The Square Circle
I'm sorry.
Digest.
I got so enthralled with you talking about your dad. I didn't even hear you mention the stuff, man. I'm sorry. Check me out at on X at SS_sports talk. Check me out here on Stanley Media House Network on YouTube. Subscribe. Check me out on Stanley Media House everywhere else. And starting next week, I may have some surprises. I bet Grandpa duty this week. So and also some other things going on. So hopefully we'll have some other stuff coming out next week. Bounce DJ, Tony, no doubt. Appreciate you guys. Oscar, as always, in there. Adrian, in there as well. I think I said Steven Gonzalez. Make sure I thank him. Hideous Stability HK.
It's my boy.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Another new listener today. Another new watcher. Appreciate you. Let's see here. Going through. Bobby, appreciate you being in as well. Also, make sure you check out. They got a new channel, No Holds Barred Wrestling. Make sure you check that out. They actually moved that to a channel now.
That's awesome.
Please go like that No Holds Barred Wrestling podcast channel. Make sure you subscribe, follow them. They do a lot of breakdowns of the rewinds of WrestleManias. I know we're on there, and a whole lot more coming to it now that it's a channel. So make sure you check out
Nice.
Bobby and Josh over there, and whoever else they got jumping in on with them. Great talk wrestling there. HDBLAKC was in the house. We thank them. And me, Papa. We thank everybody that was in on the chat. If you watch us on X, on Facebook, on Twitter, no, X is Twitter, right? If you watch us somewhere else, on Twitch, we thank you so much. Make sure you jump over to the Frankie Fresco YouTube page or the Stanley Media House, or actually, and the Stanley Media House page. Hit the likes, hit the subscribes, share it with everybody that likes to talk a little wrestling. And we'll see you next Wednesday. In the words of the great Gordon Soley, so long from the sun. Shine. Hey.
The Square Circle Digest!